Dentistry and General Radio Network presents
the Independent Dental Practice Podcast with Dr. Sonny Spera. In this episode,
welcome to the Independent Dental Practice, Dr. Sonny Spera. Today's part 2 with Dr. Jordan Barnett. You're really going to like this. He is going to tell us what it's like to go from approximately $50,000 a month to $100,000 a month, and then up to $150,000 to $170 a month, $170,000 a month, over a $2 million practice for himself. Not going to want to miss it. Great insights, great details, super successful, and great friend of dentistry. You're going to hear and see a lot more of him in the future. As always, if you like the episode, please click like, share it with your friends, subscribe, all that stuff. And find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts, or if you want to see the video version of this, it's on YouTube, or the DIGRN Radio Network also is another place it can be found. And if you don't like it, or you have suggestions, or you want to be a guest, hit me up, sonnyspera@gmail.com, cell phone 607-624-2962. Small plug for us, we are looking for an associate to join our practice. If you have an interest and you want to really work in an environment where you can provide actual dental care like you were taught in school without interference of outside influences, we're out of network with all insurances. And we have 7 docs ready, willing, and able to help at any time. If you want a good mentorship, if you want companionship, if you want people that'll guide you, we're there. You got my phone, you got my cell phone, you got my email, hit me up. You want to look us up online, progressivedentalny.com on the internet. Appreciate you all. Enjoy the show.
Dr. Jordan Barnett's journey, growing from $60,000 per month to over $2 million a year, the strategies behind the success. A discussion with Dr. Sonny Spera, Part 2.
Welcome to the Independent Dental Practice Podcast, Dr. Sonny Spera. We have Dr. Jordan Barnett with us again. This is part 2 of 2 really intriguing and fascinating episodes, and he is going to talk us through where he's at, how he gets to his next few steps, and then the kicker, this is the big sales pitch, right? How do you get to produce $2 million a year by yourself in a practice? So let's start where we kind of left off. So you are currently working at 3 dental offices, 2 days, and 1 day. Okay. Yep. One was the DSO, one was a heavy PPO, and one was kind of an emergency fee-for-service clinic. So we talked about that. How long did you do that? So this is after 6 months of real-world experience. So you do this now for how long? A year?
It was 6 months. Then 6 months.
Okay.
And at that time, the Thursday, the large PPO office, he was like, "Hey, I want you to work full time." So I dropped the corporate because I had a 6-month daily guarantee. So I knew that was kind of like, okay, like that's kind of what I want to do. And I was looking at, because after 6 months, it would go to a production. And I was looking at what I was producing there. And I was like, this is not working out. This is not going to be great. So
you weren't producing well there, really?
Not at the corporate. No, absolutely not.
Because you were killing it in the other guy's practice, $2,000 a day, just starting out. I mean, that's pretty good.
Which, I mean, I suppose it's relative, right?
I mean, 35% of 2,000, there's your 700, right?
There you go. That's true. And that's 100% true.
And you got 6 months under your belt, so you would think, okay.
And the real opportunity was the next 6 months is I turned it down. That emergency clinic, I still stayed with them. Right, I worked for him, the emergency clinic, total like 3.5 years. But then I moved now to where I was full-time at the other PPO office. And the way that we did it was I would work there Monday through Thursday, and he wanted to only work Wednesday, Thursday. And so I said, great, I want to work by myself. I want to be independent.
Okay.
And that's what I did. And so for 2 years then, from October 4th, was my first day working full-time there, the Monday through Thursday. And I worked there until April 13th of 2023. So 2 years. However long that is.
So let me ask you a question. In terms of your take-home pay, when you're working for the 3, were you making more in the fee-for-service emergency practice?
Yeah, but it was really hit and miss because, and this is, I don't want to get even more confusing, but that was technically two different offices that they kind of manage and work
I
together as
got you.
all the
Yeah.
same staff. So yeah, I mean, I really wasn't making that much at all. But again, I was definitely getting the best mentorship, and we were doing the coolest dentistry. I think that was like the procedurally, it was the coolest things that I was exposed to. Right, he did a lot of implants, he did a lot of PRF, he did a lot of that kind of cool dentistry that I was just being exposed to. So that really never was a big feeder for me from an income standpoint, but it was tremendous in terms of the experience. So
Okay, so you were
um,
getting 700 a day, so that's 2 days, and then you had the PPO experience was just 1 day, correct?
yeah, and that was $700 a day for
All
the
right, so
first six
that's
months, and then when
three.
I went full time, we went to $800 a day or 30% of production,
Okay,
whichever
so
was higher.
30%. Is that the going
Mhm.
rate in Fresno? Is that a reasonable rate?
That's what we landed on, and from a financial standpoint, I've never taken less. I've never been like that. But also, like, I would think I was realistic with my skill and where I was at, and where I was like, hey, look, I'm not going to let $50 a day or a daily guarantee be the reason why I don't have a tremendous opportunity. And also, it's like, if you're giving me the percentage of production, it's like, well, then I can just ramp and scale that. And I can just learn how to make my skills better. So, yeah, that's around there. I mean,
Now,
um,
was it a daily guarantee of 800 for 6 months and then you go to the straight commission, or how did it work? Or were you always a hybrid?
Yeah, so it was 700 when I first started when I was in the 1 day a week with him, and then once I went to full time, he went to 800 a day or 30%.
Yeah, so now full time.
And
Let's talk that.
yeah, full time it was that, and then I told him that the daily guarantee I wanted for I think it was like we did 6 months. I think I told him I said like if you can do 6 months, like I said after that like that's on me. That's I'm fine with that. Like I win, you win, you lose, I lose. That's fair. Yeah, and I stayed
Now,
on that.
what was hygiene like?
Hygiene,
Like
we
with
had 2 to 3 hygienists a day, and they were on PPO, so they were an hour each. So it'd be 16 to 24 patients, depending on how many hygienists we
Okay,
had.
but when you're seeing hygiene patients and you're in the office 2 days by yourself, are the exams underneath your feet?
No, they're not. No,
Really?
yeah, we excluded that. Yeah, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. He
That's
explained that.
not
And
fair.
also, yeah,
Sorry.
well, I mean, no, and it's fine. To that point, I'll
I mean,
say
I'm not
this
even
is
talking
like,
x-rays or diagnosis, but if you're the only doctor in the office and you're doing the
correct,
exam,
correct.
there's no debate. Now, if you're both in the office and you're sharing exams, well, then you just got
Yeah.
to chuck which exam goes up under which doctor.
Exactly. I agree with you.
And
No, and you're not wrong. I did the calculation on what my 30% of that was out. And again, it was another idea that he was looking to sell and I was looking to buy. And I was really sussing out like does this make sense?
okay, so
And
when you went in, let's talk about that for a second. So you go in
yep,
there, he goes from 1 day a week, he wants you full time, and 2 days you're by yourself, and 2 days he's there. So
right.
he's potentially going to phase out. So when you're talking, the daily minimum and all that other stuff, right? I want to buy this practice from you. I want to sell this practice. You have that conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was like, hey, that's where we're both headed. Like he's heading in that I'm selling this place and I'm headed in that I want to buy a place.
What's his timeline?
And
What did he tell you?
and I think he said 2 years. And
2 years.
then we I think about a year and a half in, maybe a little less than that. I think I identified that this was not the opportunity for me. When I was driving the majority of the production, and I was just like, I'm not this isn't it for me. And so I kind of was open to, and I think we started disagreeing on certain things.
Well,
Um,
well,
you
well.
know,
Did they ever even up the playing field a little bit in terms of how you got paid?
no, it was just pure production, and so
Right, but
which
it
was
but it
good.
really wasn't because you weren't getting paid anything on hygiene, right? So
And you're
so
not wrong.
there's to me, if you don't resolve that at a certain point, because okay, you want to do that for 6 months, that's fine. All right, now let's talk. If I'm going to be an owner, you got to start paying me a little bit closer to what an owner looks like. Okay. And then I think your mindset's a little different, You start to feel maybe you're a little bit taken advantage of, and maybe then that's why I don't want to buy this practice. Was
And
it
I
your
don't, I, and I,
experience or was it
I definitely don't disagree with you. I think you're right. Yeah, and I think he's at a practice where he's had like 11 associates before me. And I think it was a really tough patient population who I struggled with. And to where I was looking at the numbers and I'm like, if I tried to buy this, because I didn't have P&L, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have it, I didn't see what the K1 looked like. I just know what I was producing. and how much I was pushing. And I was like, I don't see this scaling a lot, and I don't see a lot of loyalty in terms of like, if I bought this practice, I see a lot of them wanting to leave. Right. And so I was like, well, this isn't really pencil for me. And so I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm liking the patients. I like all the people that work here, and my eyes are open and ready for the next opportunity. And then we had our first daughter shortly after that, and then a great opportunity came up, and that's what I took off, and that's how I'm at the place that I was at today. But you're Dr. Sparrow. I don't want to roll over that. Is that there was a lot of things and a lot of the jobs that I took where I definitely took a bended knee, I think, as the associate. And I think maybe little of that was not immaturity or not naivete, but it was like, hey, you're doing me a tremendous favor and giving me an opportunity, especially with no GPR, only a year of experience. I'm in this big
No,
practice.
no, well, all well and good. But
Yeah,
if I want to sell this practice to you, right?
true. You're not
I
wrong.
want to have your transition be successful for yourself.
I agree with you. But also, I think hurt people. And I remember him specifically saying, which I was like, that was like the nail in the coffin. It's like, well, the doctor that sold this practice to me was a bad deal where he got the better end of the stick. And he's like, and now it's my turn to get the better end of the stick. It's like, you're not going to get that end of the stick on me because I will not take that stick. Don't
Oh yeah,
care.
what he's telling you is I'm going to screw you over. And
Exactly.
eh,
Yeah.
who's
And
signing
look,
up for that? Let me talk to the other 11 people. Like, so let's go back for
exactly.
1 second. Let's go back.
Yeah.
The first doc that you went to work for, did he ultimately sell his practice?
He did. He sold it to like a small like DSO. Yeah, he did.
So did he get what he wanted out of it?
I don't know. Don't talk to him.
Okay.
Seems like he did. Yeah.
So did this guy sell his practice?
I would say no, and only because we're part of the same dental society. I just saw him at a thing it was a dinner, like, if you want to buy or sell a practice, come to this dinner. And he was there. So I'm assuming no. And I also know his associate after me, and I know that associate bought another practice. So I would assume no.
You keep doing
Yeah.
what you've always done, you're gonna keep getting what you always got, right? So
To me,
so
no.
so you leave this practice, and then
Mhm.
what's next? Because where you land now is where this really happens. Now, what does your production look like before you start at this next job?
The 2022 was my last complete year working as full time in the one office and then the part time.
Hmm.
And I know take home was 195 that year. And so production for me in that 2022 year, I think was like right under 600,000. That's just like the dentistry that I'm doing.
So 50 a
On
month.
the month. Yeah, that was on the Monday through Thursday. That was on the 4 days. And then I'm not even quite sure. I think maybe I did like another, I don't know, 50 to 75 on the Fridays and emergencies that I did at the other
All right,
office.
so
So
it's fair to say 60,000 a month
I,
is about where you were at
yeah, I would say
for
that's a pretty
both.
good estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In regards to your debt service, are you chipping away at your debt? Excuse me?
I am, yeah. So I went through Student Loan Planner, which I highly recommend anyone that does have.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, well, they put me on a government payment plan that they showed me an Excel spreadsheet that it was the best one. So, yeah, I'm chipping away, but it's very light. I mean, it's like $1,000 a month, and it's per the plan. Yes, I am paying that down, but
Oh,
obviously don't
but
have
you
a
haven't made
lot of.
that your priority right now, right? Your priority
No,
right now
definitely
is
not.
get your skill set, right? Get yourself
100%.
ready to literally explode, which is what you're going to do on your next job, right?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
So you take in, so you're at approximately 2.5 years in private practice.
Yes.
Look back from then to the beginning. Where are you at 2.5 years in? Skill wise, speed wise, everything else.
Skill wise,
Patient
speed wise,
management, all that stuff.
yeah. Skill wise, speed wise, I'd say pretty good. I'd done every pretty we had a CEREC machine. I did every single type of crown, making our own crowns, running a full schedule, multiple schedules. And I would say I was a completely different person. I would really felt like, man, I'm on some really firm footing here. Dentistry's not scary anymore. Now I'm going and I can look and, oh, I've handled this problem before. I've had this issue. And so I'm feeling fairly confident with my skills and where things are at. And knowing now that, okay, there's huge financial horsepower that I'm aware of, that I've always been aware of in dentistry. And I think now is a time for me to really find a better opportunity where I think I can grow and do the next thing.
Did,
And
did you feel though that you have all the basis right now that you were scratching the surface of what you could do, like your potential was so much
100%.
higher?
100%. I just felt like I was the cannonball in the cannon, and you're there with a match. That's where
Okay.
I felt I was. Yeah,
So your confidence. I mean, you talk about your personal development early, right? Your personal development
definitely.
has to be right now, like, okay, I feel pretty good about this. Now I'm ready to take on that. In your personal life, are you married at this time? What's your personal life look like?
Yes. Yeah. My wife and I got married 2021, went to the courthouse for 79 bucks. That was June 4th, 2021. And yeah, and then so we were doing good. My wife stopped working 2021. And so now it's 2022, and we're expecting our first child, and things really start to look a different way when you start to look down the scope of like, how do I raise a child, right? And
But you still got a lot on your plate. 2022, you're really a babe
yeah,
in the woods in terms of your private practice, right?
right.
You still have this cloud of debt still hanging over your head. That's
Definitely.
significant. But it's not what I really am getting though is it's not affecting your strategy and your plan for your self-improvement of where you want to be. So 10 years from now, you're going to look back on that time and be again, just like you started the first show was with gratefulness and gratitude. So
That's right.
grateful you did it the way you did it because you'll have such a rock solid foundation that when the wind blows, the roots are strong. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
this is pretty
Well
cool.
said.
So
Thank
let's
you.
talk about that opportunity now. So again, 60 grand a month was where you left,
Mhm.
and you're moving into this new office. What does this office look like?
In this office, well, I started looking around, and then I saw this one ad, and it was like $1,500 a day. And I was like, what the heck? I've never even made that in my career. So I'm
Hmm.
like, how on earth? Right? No way. And sure enough, the only reason I actually clicked on it, because it didn't look real to me actually. And the only reason I clicked on it is because it showed the email, and I was like, I know it's a very unique last name, and that's a pediatric dentist that I'm referring to. And I was like, all right, let's just see. And I've always heard how pediatric dentists are just doing all these crazy production numbers. So I said, okay, well, I'll click on it. And sure enough, I met with him, and then there was another, because I was like, well, I'm not a pediatric dentist. How does this even work? I'm a dentist for 2.5 years. I don't even understand the legalities of my license or what that works, right?
Sure.
Because I'm just nose to the grindstone.
Well,
And
they can't necessarily say that you're a pediatric dentist, but you can treat
and which
kids,
we
right?
don't, which we don't. Yeah. And
Okay.
so and so our
All right.
office says dentistry limited to children is what it says. And also in the state of California, because we're low income, basically the state is like, hey, if anyone's willing to see them, we're happy to, as a general dentist, you can accept in California like Denti-Cal only for kids to 12. Like you can do stuff like that in California.
Hmm.
Right. And so anyway, and of course I had my lawyer look into that. That's another thing I recommend everyone to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I met with him, and then I was like, well, hang on. Am I just missing this whole pediatric dentistry thing? And then there was another corporate pediatric dentistry office here in Fresno, and they were hiring. So I talked with them. And so I had two offers to do to make a significant amount more and also to learn pediatrics. And again, because I had my new baby and I saw how scary it was as a new dad, like all these things I didn't know. And it's like, man, I couldn't imagine my kid's teeth hurting now. What would I do if I didn't know what to do? And so, anyway,
So you
yeah, I
had
ended up
two different pediatric
two
offices. Were
different
they both state?
pediatric, yes, two different pediatric Denti-Cal offices, yes,
Okay.
and
In Fresno area?
in Fresno area. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I ended up
That's
with the
interesting.
guys that I'm with. Yeah, and again, I went with them. And actually, I'm a 1099, not a W-2 with this office, which that actually was the big thing when I met with them was like, hey, look, this other job's W-2. Like, I feel more comfortable with that. That makes more sense to me. And then their big thing was like, well, do you really know what do you really know about a 1099? And how do you do things? How do you operate? And I think again, maybe I was low on the trust, right, on my end, and I was worried about getting screwed over. And so I met with a lawyer, I met with an accountant, and they put me with their people. And then really the last thing I said was like, look, I'm not a pediatric dentist. If I'm going to work for you, I expect if I have any questions, I expect you guys to answer that. I will not say yes to any agreement if you guys do not show me everything. Like I've never done a stainless steel crown on an actual live patient before, and I'm going to go to a pediatric dental office. I'm probably going to do a lot of those. And so they were gracious and they were great and they set me up. And so I got everything figured out. I set up an S corporation for myself and I started working for them. And it has been the most tremendous and thrilling ride of my life that I have enjoyed every second of, and I feel ever grateful for.
Did you have an affinity to treat kids before?
I did actually. That was kind of one of my main shticks when I was applying for the job was, yes, I'm showing them. We talked about the portfolio, right? I'm showing them my cases, but also I was saying like, hey, look, I'll see all the bad patients. I'll see all the, and I said, and also if you don't want to see kids, I'll see all the kids. So I'd already seen about, I don't know, I had maybe 500, 750, restorations on kids, all the
So let
way
me
as
tell
young
you,
as
these
five.
other practices, how stupid they are, okay? You're growing a part of their practice, which I guarantee was not thriving.
Mhm.
So you're complementary building the practice. You're not in competition with them at all. You're going to just completely supplement and complement and just completely improve the spectrum and the range of what they're doing. So anyway, so let's go back. So now you sign the agreement, you're a 1099, you set up an S corp. Did you ever consider like an LLC or a PLLC? Was that ever on the
In
table at some time?
California, as an independent dentist, I cannot be an LLC for dental services. That's why it's S corporation. So actually, S corporation, as explained to my by my CPA, is the most relevant, or it's like the most relevant. It actually hits by my contract, and actually from a tax advantage, like on the S corporation, especially because you don't have because it's a pass through entity, right? You have a really the maximization of like
All
all
right.
the skill, but
Okay.
also just because I can't be an LLC for this. If I was to
Gotcha.
own an office and then own a piece of real estate in California, I can then have an LLC that can manage the real estate. But S corporation was the
All right.
appropriate
Okay. So you
selection.
set up an S corp that you are
Hmm.
the only employee of, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, have you ever, so let's go into it. So they supply the assistant,
Hmm.
business admin people, right?
Hmm.
Facility and the patients. How much autonomy do you have in terms of materials you want to use?
100%. 100%. Whatever I
Okay.
want, whatever I say, you get it.
What about hiring? What if you say I don't get along with this assistant? You hire somebody else?
I have the ability to, yeah, I definitely have the ability to say I want this person, don't want this person. Yeah, I've
Okay.
I've actually helped hire a couple people too. Yeah.
Okay. And do you work alongside other docs? If so, how many?
We can. The office that I primarily work in, does have the capacity for it, but no, I work solely and independently right now,
Okay.
and I
And
have the last 2 years.
how many people do you work with? Let's just give me a scenario. How many assistants, how many hygienists, how many
Yeah,
business admin people? How many people you got there?
I have two people in the front office, and then in the back, I have a lead assistant, and I have about six assistants on top of that. This is about seven assistants,
So
and we see
you
about
work with
60
seven
patients a day.
assistants? Are they doing the
And
prophies for the pediatric
they are,
prophy?
they are. They're
So
doing the
how many of them
pediatric
are
prophy.
actually how many of them are actually functioning like a hygienist would? Three of them?
No, well, we have about five RDAs usually at any given time. So in California, a registered dental assistant can perform the child prophy. So yeah, about five of them. And then I usually
So
have two in treatment with me.
so those five are doing the hygiene. So you got five hygiene running, right?
Hmm.
How many chairs do you have? Eight or nine?
We have eight open bay chairs, and then we have four operatories, and I usually work
Surgical
out of two of
suites?
them. Yeah, they're small, but yeah,
Okay.
essentially, yeah. And especially with kids, it gets pretty noisy, so yeah, we can close the door.
So 12 total. All right.
Mhm.
In your production, hygiene count towards you?
Yes, I am at 27% of adjusted production, and adjusted is for anyone who is not up to speed on that. You do the work, that you've produced the work, you send it over to insurance, insurance then pays it. That adjusted number is the actual number that is collected by the office. I'm paid 27% of whatever that number is.
All right. So in your terms, all right. So that right away is going to boost your monthly production a huge amount, right? Because if you got five hygienists running,
Humongous.
right? That's a
76% of my monthly production is on the hygiene side.
I was going to ask you that next question. That you beat me to it. All right. So do you see every patient that comes through? You got six patients, seven patients
Absolutely.
an hour hygiene?
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yep.
your
Every
schedule
single one.
can't your operative schedule cannot be jammed.
No, not really. Yeah. And I mean, I have it one every hour, and then usually in between that, I'll usually have like another one. But also, when you're doing occlusal on number A on a 4-year-old who's perfectly well behaved on zonked out on nitrous, it takes me like 4 minutes. So, yeah, I really
Okay.
have a lot of flexibility with the schedule and I can really play with that.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So let's talk. So you're there. They were going to give you a $1,500 minimum, you said, right? That was
Yep.
your daily minimum, and or
And that was for a
30.
year. Yeah, I was at 1,500 for a year.
Did
Yeah.
you stay at that? Did you have a percent? Like, did you have like you had in the other office,
Yeah,
800
so it
until?
was in the contract. I had a daily guarantee for a year that I negotiated with them, and then it was all or the 27%, whatever one was higher. And so after the first like week, I don't think I like made the minimum like ever,
I was going to
just
say
because
that
of how
minimum has
busy.
to be like you probably you. It's like taking a plane. You probably passed over the end of the runway as you were not cruising to your altitude,
I
right?
hit the minimum at $5,555.55 a day, and I averaged that first year. I think it was like I gave you the numbers. I think it was like yeah, I don't know, 65 or something like that. So I was well above that in that first
Okay.
year.
All right. So talk about the differences in going from, we'll call it an adult practice, to this pediatric practice to you.
Well, one, like I said, remember the part that I made about the DSO and how they were systems based?
Yeah.
These owners, they're four guys and they're tremendous. There's three pediatric specialists and one orthodontist. And they're the most business forward, just smart people that I've dealt with. And so they started two offices 15 years ago. Now they're at like 35. So they clearly have their things together. And I think
So their
I've
systems are tight.
really their systems are tight. The way that we schedule is very smart. It makes a lot of sense. And we really have, like I said, SOPs and certain things gone. And then, of course, they've really given me a lot of autonomy to really increase that and supported me in the decisions that I've wanted to make, which have only helped accelerate us. But really, like you said, day to day, I'll say is that, well, kids will tell you what they really think, which I actually really love, honesty, and I really appreciate that. And we see more than 50% Spanish, so I'm fluent in Spanish now, which is big to me. And it's very fast, it's high volume, it's very loud and very noisy. But a lot of my job is talking, a lot of my job is hygiene instruction, it's things like that. And I really relish in that. I think everyone's different things in dentistry because different things appeal to them. Some people are so in love with a certain procedure, which is why maybe they specialize, or maybe for the pursuit of more profit. But really, for me, I don't care what I'm doing as a dentist. I don't care what procedure I'm doing, even if it's a hygiene exam. I just like playing the role of dentist. And so this job really allows me to do that. So, like I said, 76% of my production is on the hygiene side, which again, the hygiene side for me is only the exam, not the sealant, not the prophy, not the x-rays, right? Just coming to the exams. And so there's a lot of families. And that's been the funnest part is that, I have a now 2.5-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old daughter and seeing families of, okay, they have two teenage girls around the same gap and me. It's like, what's your day to day like? If you have kids, you understand, like you have such a different schedule in life based on where your kids are and stage of life. And so it's been a lot of fun and we've been very busy and I see about 60 patients a day, and we really move, but it really forces me, I think, to be better. I think it forces that time. It fits with my personality, and it's very quick, but also you see that you can really build rapport with the patient. You can have a very serious talk in like a minute, but you really are focused for that time. And so there's been a lot of skill development for sure. And what you
Let me
find
give
is
you one
restoratively,
suggestion. Let me give
tell
you
me,
one suggestion. Look into some smart earphones
mm,
where they filter out above a certain decibel.
that'd be smart.
So you start and your numbers in your first year were around $100,000 a month. So you went from 60 to
Yep.
$100,000 a month. Now I misspoke then. I thought you got all the hygiene. The only thing you got from hygiene was your exams. You were not getting the prophy fees for yourself, right?
My new place.
Yeah.
My current place? No, my current place, every single dollar that comes in, I'm 27% of. So no, I get a percentage of
You get
everything.
everything on hygiene side, not just exams.
Everything.
Okay. All right. That makes sense then. Because I was going to say,
Yep.
wow, that's a hell of a lot of exams. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
there's your 76%. Okay.
hmm
So you're at $100,000 a
hmm
month your first year. Okay.
And
Now,
at that time, I'll say, Dr. Sparrow, because I was newer, I was also because they have 15 offices in this Denical
Sure.
like type because they have multiple types. They have a specialty which I don't
Sure.
work in. I only work in the Dentacao one. So at the time I was really kind of jumping different offices, and then people that have been there longer have they don't have an office, but they've been at an office where they primarily work.
Sure.
And then so November 1st, 2023 was when I first started working in the downtown location, and I was like the dentist there. And so
Hmm.
yeah, right at the tail end of it is when I started as the main dentist in one office, not
But
just
just
jumping
just the
around.
number. So you're doing 100,000 a month.
Yeah.
The following year, you have 50% growth. You go to
Yes.
150,000 a month.
Yes.
Share the secret sauce, man. How'd you do it?
Really working with the team, talking with the owners and shadowing them on my days where I wasn't working or time off, where it's like, hey, how do we improve? And a lot of it too was like now the SSCs aren't taking me very long because I now know how to do a pediatric SSC really well. So I think a lot of it was just systems based, right? Like I said, like getting to speed and also increasing the amount of they really give us a lot of autonomy. I mean, through 4 offices in Fresno on our computer software system, there's 50,000 patients, 50,000, right? So we have no shortage of patients. So if we want, I have any ability to be like, hey, I want to see more hygiene, and then we can get that filled like that. And so I started increasing our capacity, and with more patients came more money,
You
and
increase
so
capacity because your speed.
because of my speed, also I had the ability to, and also because we have a tremendous need. I'm really fighting, all of us fight disease. Like I'm really fighting it. I
I'm saying, but
diagnose
you
like
didn't change your physical plan. You didn't add rooms. You didn't add treatment rooms. So your
no,
capacity change came simply
correct.
because you could absorb more in your column, not necessarily hygiene, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 on both. Both on my procedure side, right? My production, right? And then
Sure.
also on the hygiene side. Yeah, we were increasing on both. I think they've really
How,
supported me.
how
Yeah.
does hygiene improve so much? What did you do there?
A lot of it was working with the assistants. It was speaking Spanish, so now I don't need a translator, so I'm talking, right? Understanding Denical and really how it works. And then also like I can't tell you, Dr. Sparrow, how many times we'll have a new patient and it'll be a bomb and she'll have the patient who's 5 and it's a new patient. And it's the first time for the 5-year-old at the dentist's office. And it's like she has 2 kids with her. It's like, Mom, have they gone? Because they're 3 and 1. And it's like, no, it's like, do you want to be seen right now? Right. And so I was in office where I was just like, and I would just started getting referrals and a ton of referrals actually. And so it just kind of snowballed from there.
So same day dentistry is what they call that, right?
Oh. Yeah. So I average about $1,500 to $2,000 added a day in same day average. Yeah. Also, it's Denical, so we do have a very high no-show rate. So, it's not uncommon for me to have, 15% of my schedule fall off. Just they confirm and they just don't come, and so yeah, we supplement that. And I have a lot of flexibility with that too. So it's a very fluid schedule.
Yeah,
But
but fifteen
like
hundred $1,500 times 200 days, it's 300 grand.
there you go. Yeah, and I'm always looking for opportunities. And remember too, I think for anyone that hears that, especially new dentists, is that it's not just about money. It's like this is dentistry that I agree with. So it's like let's just objectively say this is $300,000 of dentistry that is needed, right?
Yeah.
Well, then if you
Oh
then if
no,
you
no,
did
and we're
that,
not
then
talking. No,
that's a
we're not
win.
talking about any false and doing anything
Totally.
unethical.
But
It's
what I'm saying is you're a business owner and you understand that. I think maybe not all new graduates do that. It's like if your production is based off of good dentistry that you're happy with, the more that you do, the more money you make, which is great. But also, it's like that's more disease that's treated. I have a ton of these. I diagnose on average 250 teeth a day.
Mhm.
So
I
it's
get
like
it. I get
I
it.
gotta I gotta be working through this stuff. And also, there's a lot of these kids that just unfortunately they come from underserved populations where they need it now. And so that's what we do.
So what's the long range plan?
So I have an opportunity for partnership with my current office, and so we're kind of thinking about that. There's nothing formal, but it's been a great time. I've been there for 27 complete months now, and I've just loved doing what I'm doing. So I want to keep doing what I'm doing for sure. Like I said, and mature with these owners, and they're really just great personal friends of mine now, and partners of mine. And so that also I put on dental notches that I'm just finishing up my MBA at Fresno State. Really, what I long-term plan, this is not an actual thing, I'm just saying, is that I think dentistry needs leadership from within, and I really see myself doing that. I feel like I have a very unique set of experiences, and now I do have some at least real data and real stuff to show that, hey, I was able to ramp in a certain way. And because again, we started this whole talk at 550 a day. It's like we're significantly higher than that now. That's X about 4 to 5, right?
Mhm.
I've done these things. And what I think I've done is I've understood that if you look on a dental notches, and this is no knock on dental notches or anyone, right? But it's like you look at new graduates and how they're doing, like, are they doing better or are they doing worse? I don't know, but all I know is I want them to do better because they are my brothers and sisters in dentistry, right? As you are. And I think that dental school's over and competing against other dentists is just foolish now. Like, I don't want to do that. All I want to do is because you, Dr. Sparrow, we've never met in person. We live 3,000 miles away. But the better dentistry that you do, the better that the general public will think about dentistry. And that's really what I care about because I love dentistry at the heart of it. And
Mhm.
I believe in it. I believe in the work that I do and people
The
to
most
do well.
important message you can pass along was your first sentence. I love dentistry, right?
Amen.
Because that's going to bleed through everything, right?
Hmm.
I feel the same way. I would never I would not encourage my kids to go into it. I would not do this. I see all that stuff. Oh, the debt really is the juice the squeeze, the juice worth the squeeze,
Right.
et
Right.
cetera. And it's a tough conversation when you just look at the numbers, right?
Couldn't agree
However,
more.
self-satisfaction, and the ability to help people and meet them where they're at, and then the challenge of dealing with people is fun, and it has to be
It is
accepted
for
that way.
me. It is for
Yeah.
me,
Let
you
me
know?
ask you this with the potential of a buy-in here. We got a few minutes before we gotta
Sure.
wrap up. Have they done this with anyone else before?
They have.
So they
Absolutely.
have a
Yeah.
formula.
They have a formula and we'll see what that looks like. And,
I
ultimately,
was going to ask you,
like
you
what I
haven't
could
seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet, no. And ultimately, these are guys that have over 2 years have been nothing but tremendous. And also, they're very big on like, hey, we're growing at a demonstrable speed and pace, and like we want to support other dentists on the way, and we know we're going to need help. And so they've made really smart strategic partnerships. And if that's something that we can come to, great. And ultimately, I want them to succeed. Anyone that I've ever worked for, Dr. Sparrow, and I've worked a lot of different places, and I really am a jerk or just an idiot if I tell you that everyone I worked with was no good and I was always perfect. No, there's things that I think that huge gaps. I mean, you're a brand new dentist, like that's a huge gap enough. And they've just been so supportive of me the whole way. And anyone that I've ever worked with, like if I'm going to put my time and energy into that, like I'm going to give them my best. And so this is me doing that. The MBA thing, well, it was a tax write-off actually because I have my own business and I spoke with my accountant about that quite a bit. And it was a time to be a student again, which I love. I'm at Fresno State, which was my alma mater, is where I met my wife. That's my intellectual birthplace as far as I'm concerned. And it's also an acknowledgement outwardly of there's things that I don't know and I want to learn. And also the people that make the most money in dentistry aren't dentists. How does that make any sense? I don't know. But I think that it's not going in a way that or direction that I want. And so, like I said, back to the whole thing of control, it's like I want to do things like this podcast and take advantage of great opportunities that I'm given. Thank you again for a tremendous opportunity to give my heart and my soul into dentistry. And this is me doing that. And so I don't know where things will go, but all I know is maybe I've just been fortunate enough to always succeed upward, but I feel like it's somewhere better. And I think in order to do that, I have to become better. So that's what I'm working on. That's why I'm meeting with dentists like yourself. Thank you.
Brother, I can't add anything to that. So let's share your contact. I know you gave it to me. You want to give everybody your
Sure.
phone number and your email, please?
Yeah, 559-213-1617. That's my direct. That's this, right? Feel free, call to text me. Dr. Jordan Barnett, DRJORDANBARNETT at gmail.com. And then usually you can find me on Facebook too or Instagram. I don't really use them too much, but I'm definitely looking to it's time for me to stop saying, okay, I don't want to put into social media because I think this is how we reach the most people. And so, yeah, you can reach me on social media or however, but just know as a dentist, if you are a dentist or someone aspiring to be a dentist, that I'm rooting for you and I want you to succeed.
Well, my friend, it's great talking to you. I love
Thank
your
you.
vibe. I love all that stuff. And I think a little plug here. I think in dentistry, if we continue to give away our autonomy and allow private equity and non-dentists to make dental or healthcare decisions, then we got nobody to blame but ourselves.
I couldn't
Um,
agree more with you. I couldn't agree. And also let that be an imposition to any dentist to hear. It's like, why did you do all, like you said, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, so you did all this for someone to tell you how to live your life or what to do? Not for me. No way in hell am I doing that. So I want to take control. I want us to have the reins. And I think the way we do this, we got to get better. Why is it the only profession that everyone's okay to say, I hate you because you're a dentist? Like why are we okay with that? I'm not okay with that. And I think the way that we change that is we show people that what we do is important and we deliver a tremendous service that is necessary and needed. And so I'm fired up to see new dentists succeed or all dentists succeed because we need to. And we don't do that by pushing people down. We pull that by bringing them up.
I can't say it any better than that, man. Thanks again.
Well,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Doc. I
Have
appreciate
yourself
it.
a great day.
You too.
Get to it, man.
All
Thanks.
right, 60 patients today. I'll let you know how it goes. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Sparrow.
God bless you, man. I'll
You
see
too.
you.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live events.